Lazarus, episode 13. The world is yours. Yo, we down to the wire. What are we gonna do? Let's talk about it. All right, welcome back, you variants. So we are at Lazarus, episode 13. This is the last episode of the season series, whatever. I'm not sure if they're gonna do a season two, but we have to figure out: are they going to find Dr. Skinner, and are they going to be able to save the world? Well, let's get into it. So Axel and the doctor both see his message on his phone in the morning. And Axel resigns himself to, like, yeah, I'm in no condition to go deal with none of that. I can't. I'm going to stay right here and heal. And they kind of have a little joke about it. And with that being said, it was like, all right, we're not going to worry about Axel. He's cool. He's chilling. He's recovering in bed. Abel is continuing his conversation with Schneider. And him and Schneider are going back and forth, but he's locking Schneider up. Like, he's like, look, you've done this, this, and this. And he calls him out on the attack on Skinner at the airport. He's like, it's your people that went to go do that. It's your people that went and end up having the shootout with the local police and caused the entire thing to blow way more out of proportion than what it needed to be. It could have been kept, more contained. But again, Schneider got antsy and went after Skinner. So called him out on that and fully arrested him, put him in the car. It's like, yo, you're done. All right. We see that 909 has discovered a document that has to do with the testimony of the Hunden program. So he's like, oh, this is what we're talking about with Axel and the assassin. So what's going on with the Hunden program? Basically, you can't access it, and it's restricted to anybody who is not the president and the secretary of state. Good thing this falls under 909 specialty, so he's going to get to work on hacking that and trying to figure it out. While he's doing that, Doug and Elena arrive at Babylonia City via the hypercube station. And when they get there, they end up talking. Abel just secured Hirsch, and it's discussed that Skinner loves plants, and they're having this conversation, including a rare tulip that was found earlier by Leland. And this is back when they were kind of investigating, you know, uh, Belinda's house, and they're trying to figure out, where is Skinner, what's going on. Go back to 909. He actually breaks the seal and finds the testimony that was given by Zhang Zhangzhou. And I'm going to butcher these names: Zhang Zhanggu, something to that effect. But this character was the minister of state security for the Chinese. And while he was seeking asylum in the U.S., he was actually taken out by an unknown assailant shortly after gaining asylum or seeking asylum. We see that Axel has escaped the hospital. Oh, big surprise. We're not surprised at all. And Doc calls Chris to inform her that, hey, he's gone somewhere, gives her the clue, like, this is what it is. And we see Inscom has their helicopter spinning up as well because they're on the lookout for the assassin and on Axel. So Army ends up picking up his location. They see him going to Babylonia Tower, and they're like, okay, it looks like it's an area that's heavily monitored at all times and stuff. And I was talking about where the angel is. So on top of the building is a huge angel that is constructed. So it all makes sense. So they start evacuating that tower immediately because stuff's about to go down. And we find the assassin waiting at the top with a rocket launcher, waiting for Axel. Of course, they get into it. It's pretty much like on site, we finna fight. So they start scrapping, and as they're fighting, Elizabeth is reading the document. Uh, and this reading is happening as the fight is kind of going on. The document about how the children were indoctrinated under a project that was authorized by the Minister of State Security to teach children to discard their emotions and humanity and to turn them into faceless monsters, akin to the Hunden. They were impossible to negotiate with. You couldn't talk to them, so that they just did whatever their job was, and that was it. Axel and the assassin are continuing to fight while the assassin asks what happened to the Hunden after the holes were put in his face. That's the question that the assassin wants to know. Like, what happened to it? The report states that the student, one student snapped and killed all the other students, including the instructor, before disappearing without a trace. And we see a flashback that shows the instructor initiate some kind of memory wipe when the snap of his fingers and all this happened. So after he was laying bleeding out with that, he said, "You did all this. You did good. You became what I wanted you to become. That, but you won't remember any of it." Snaps his fingers, and like that's it. It's like, what the heck? So he already had some kind of pre-installed failsafe for a mind wipe, some kind of memory control or whatever the case would be. So pretty ingenious as far as they're concerned to basically to keep their project more or less going without hopefully any triggers to stop it. Now, the army helicopter, arrives and starts opening fire immediately. And the assassin gets his rocket launcher and launches and hits that helicopter, which crashes into the angel structure on top of the tower. So now we've got just debris and everything flying all over the place. And keep this in mind, yourself is they're at the top of this tower. So this crashes into the top of the tower, like this tower is coming down. Like a lot of the top of it's coming down. So Axel and Assassin are having to evade all the stuff that's going on while we see Chris en route on her motorcycle to the collapsing tower. All right. And after getting to this, it finally shows up. Axel is there, and the whole thing is covered in rubble. We see that the assassin was not able to get out the way in time, and kind of attribute this to Axel's luck. He's got some crazy, insane luck, but he managed to come out fairly unscathed while the assassin is kind of pinned down by some of the rubble, like a big piece, and is just kind of sitting there. And Axel ends up finding him and explains what happens to the Hunden. It's like that it died 7 days after the holes were put into its face. And now the assassin remembers and now believes that he is no longer a faceless monster, and just kind of has solace in the fact that after that time period that it died. And it could be more or less that he's now dying in the process, so he doesn't have to be that faceless monster anymore. Not quite sure. They kind of left that a little bit open ended because I didn't see him actually like die. I had to go back and watch it again just to make sure. But Chris arrives to take Axel to Skinner because they have located him. Guess where he was? In the camp. We've already discussed this before. Let's talk about last episode. He was in the camp back when I first saw him, and they walked right by him. And the reason they walked right by him, so that is they had no idea, that he would be so close. And two, Skinner didn't even see them because Skinner had these big dark shades on. He can't even really see what's going on. So neither one of them knew that the other one was there. After so after all that stuff is done, Abel was making sure that Snyder was arrested. Elena reveals the fever to Abel, that she had the fever, and asks how she got better because she doesn't understand. And Abel says he'll explain everything in detail. So this is the key, because we were kind of curious. Like, she was getting sick and we thought she was done for, but she made a recovery like after a night of rest or whatever. Skinner was actually opposed to his biological weapons, and he leaked the proof into Europe, but the army found out about it, and that's why they clashed with the local police at the airport trying to get him. The thing was, the team was actually present at the airport when all this went down. So now I need to go back and watch to see if I could see them at any point in time. But they state the team was present, and they showed them in different parts where they were present. But I'm not sure if they showed it beforehand. It would have been a nice little thing, kind of how they showed Skinner beforehand. So I wouldn't doubt that they did it. I may have missed it, but they were all there when it occurred. And when the cylinder went off and exposed the gas, killing a bunch of people, they all got hit. But the thing is, they all underwent a mutation that gave them a natural resistance to the drug. They all died, which is why the program is named Lazarus. If you don't know anything about Lazarus, go look it up, go Google it. Lazarus and all about raising from the raising from the dead, which is essentially what they did. They came back to life, and that's where Lazarus was created, and that's why it's called Lazarus. So it's like, okay, didn't expect that outcome, but does it make much sense? I mean, you think about what happens when we do the flu and all that kind of stuff. Is you have to adapt to whatever that strain is to get over it. You develop something to get past it, and then you carry on. So more or less same difference. Depends on whatever whatever was in Hopna that caused it to be what it is in the first place. They were able to adapt to it. Now, Hirsch and Leland arrive at the homeless camp first, and they meet Jill. Axel, Chris, Doug, and Elena all arrive shortly after, and Doug flashes back to seeing Skinner at camp beforehand. Same scene that I said that I saw, man. Like, hey, there he is right there. Apparently, Skinner is now blind, which is why he didn't see them. That's why he's got the glasses on. He greets Hirsch, and we see that his eyes are sparkling like the monkeys did when the monkey passed out, back at the container when we saw some stuff, going down with the whole testing facility. He said, he's like, you found me, and he writes down the cure for her, and he recounts on the airport incident. There was a young kid that asked him to sign an autograph, and that young kid was killed in a crossfire. It was at that moment that he lost his faith in humanity, because they were so hell bent on getting what they had, what they, think that they belong to them from Skinner, that they were willing to do damage to all the surrounding people just to get their hands on it. And that's where he lost faith in humanity. So, and Axel asked, freaking, is it good that Skinner was found, or should everyone have been wiped out? And Skinner's just like, you tell me. What do you think of that? And Axel responds, it's screwed up, but this world has some redeeming qualities. And Skinner kind of has a brief sigh. It's not like a sigh of distress or whatever, just more of a sigh of relief and so with that. And he goes limp and dies right there. And it's just like, wow. So they got the cure. They got to get start implementing it, whatever. The Lazarus team is already immune, so they're good to go. They don't necessarily need the cure, but the rest of the world is going to need it like ASAP, because we're at day 0, right? Axel and Doug end up drawing down on Hirsch, and they are prepared to take Hirsch out to survive being erased, because they now know a whole bunch of stuff that they probably shouldn't know. And then Abel shows up, and he releases their wristbands like almost immediately and says the president has issued an executive order, because we know he's in good standing with the president. Executive order. All right, recognizing them for finding Skinner and stopping the army. Their records are wiped clean and they are free to go. They can do whatever it is they want. But he asked them, would you like to rejoin Lazarus of your own free will? Leland's the first to sign up, because Leland's like, yo, he knows Abel. This is kind of what he's been, dealing with. Elena, Chris, Doug, they all follow, and Axel's the only one who grumbles. Is like, well, I guess he gives me another excuse to go kick some more ass. that's pretty much it. And that's where it ends and stuff. So fantastic series, fantastic setup. You could literally leave it as a one-off season if you want to, but they leave it open-ended to go do more if they want to have a season 2, which I'm hoping they do. Like, this show was really, really good. It got you thinking. Is the animation, the fight scenes were solid. Again, I told you, that Cowboy Bebop style, I love it. I grew up off of it. So I'm happy to see this. I want to see them do a season 2, but I won't be mad if they don't do a season 2. Like, it is fine the way it is. Just similar to Cowboy Bebop. It's like, it's fine the way it is. I don't have to have more, but I'll take it if you're willing to give it to me. Other than that, I want to know what your thoughts are. What do you think of the series? What were the parts that stood out to you? What were your favorite characters? I'm partial to Axel, and I want to honestly say probably Abel. I like how Abel was, kind of cool and calculated with everything and trying to get stuff done. He was one. He reminded me of leaders in my past and stuff, and I thought that he was really dope to keep his head cool and pressure even when dealing with Schneider's punk behind. Axel, again, he's the main character, but again, reckless and just kind of doing whatever, which was, me long time ago. So I enjoyed it. I enjoyed seeing this entire show. So by all means, make sure you hit the love or subscribe button. Tell me your thoughts. Tell me in the comments. What do you think? Did you like it? Do you want to see a season 2? Where we go from there, and what other anime should we be looking out for to watch? But I got some more that I'm going to cover here shortly, so we'll get into it then. Until then, catch y'all on the next one.